Hello, hello, hello. Nicole Roberts Jones here. Welcome to Bankroll Your Brains Thursdays, a time I connect with you every Thursday, 12 p.m. EST, and we talk about one of three things and sometimes all three. Number one is what is your brilliance? The one thing God has created you to do or be in this world. The second is the value tied to that. And the third is how do you create multiple streams of income from it? Always excited and blessed to be here, whether we have guests or I get to pour into you. So today I am pouring into you as we end our four-part series, as we've been talking to you about leverage so that you can grow, leverage to grow. And so today we're talking about leveraging your plan. See, no revenue or no plan, no revenue. You've got to have strategy. One of the things that I see so many people do is whatever, whenever, however, and you can't have a business and not have strategy. So, just a quick review, and I really want you to understand the four parts that I've walked you through kind of like are like the wheels on the car, the vehicle that will drive your car either towards success or if you don't have all four wheels on a car, how do you drive anywhere? Or even if you have one of your wheels are out of alignment, yeah, you're in for kind of a bumpy ride, right? So you've got to have all four wheels in order to have business success. Your first wheel is your leveraging your brilliance. So you've got to be clear on what your brilliance is, that niche, the specialization. You can't be a generalist because you're not everyone's answer. So if you're not able to take your brilliance and speak to a predictable result, you've got to know a confused mind does not buy. So if you can't articulate it, why would anybody buy it if they don't understand what it is you do and why they need you? The second is you've got to then create visibility from it. Now, isn't it obvious why you can't create visibility? If you can't articulate the value, how do you then create visibility from it? And a logo is not visibility. A beautiful website is not visibility. It's just not. It doesn't speak to the person that needs you, why they need you. So you've got to be able to show people the value that you bring. And oftentimes I talk about the fact that had my husband brought my ring to our first date, I would have thought the brother was crazy because I had no idea the value he's bringing on a first date, let alone the fact that he's bringing my ring. But we dated each other for a while. And so you've got to learn to date your client and allow them to see the value that you bring. So if you've missed any of our conversations, I want to encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel and even our last conversation, which is around revenue. You've got to have multiple streams of income in your business. One income stream isn't going to do in your business. Listen, what most billionaires don't tell you is they have multiple revenue streams. So I talked to you about the fact that even a parable in the Bible shows you that God is a God of multiplication. There was a sermon, those of you that were part of my Rich in Your Niche Summit that I did a couple weeks ago. There was a sermon that I shared from T.D. Jakes where he talked about the fact that you've got to sacrifice before multiplication. And I think what's so interesting is so many people don't want to invest in themselves and grow themselves in order to multiply. They want it to be easy. And literally, the parable that I shared in our last episode shows the fact that the parable of the talents, the employee that took the risk to invest, because investing is a risk. But if you want anything to grow, it comes in risk. It's not going to be comfortable. Look at people like Tyler Perry, who took a risk to start that first play. Look at him now. Had he not taken that risk, people like Steve Harvey, who lived in his car, and Tiffany Haddish. I'm not saying you've got to live in your car, but you got to take a risk. All risks don't look the same, although theirs all look the same. But there's a level of risk involved in success. So then the fourth area you've got to look at, if you want to leverage your revenue and really look at all the revenue streams, you've got to have strategy around it. So really I want to walk you through 8 reasons your business will fail without a plan, without strategy. And these are bump up against the 3 areas I walked you through already. Again, if you missed any of those 3, go on over to my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is nrjnetwork.com, you'll see Bankroll Your Brains Thursdays there, and you can see part 1, part 2, and part 3. Okay, today's part 4. All right. So, number one, not understanding the environment or focusing on results. See, when you don't understand the environment your brilliance serves in, you're not focusing on the result and for who. It's all about you. Well, I think they need this. Well, it's not about you, boo. It doesn't matter what you think. It's what is the need articulated by the people that you are there to serve. I see so many people that use industry lingo. And when I remember working in a school, and my brilliance is I am a producer and I develop programs. It doesn't matter what industry. I develop programs in every industry. I've worked in just about every industry. I remember working in schools. And when I go into any industry, the first thing I'm going to always do is an assessment. So I'm sitting in a school success team. The principal's like, and why do you want to sit in this? Because the school is having issues with student test scores and you want me to help improve that. So I want to sit in one of your students that are not doing well. I want to sit in a meeting that your psychologist is having. The psychologist was not feeling me in that meeting, probably because he was a white man. I'm a black woman, and the student was a black student with his black mother. And this man was using every big word he could think of, every psychological word. And I'm a social worker by trade. So I knew what he was talking about. So I was interpreting it. So when the family went out, I said to him, do you want these families to do well? Or do you want them to think you're smart? Because if you want them to do well, you need to speak to them in a language they understand. Oh, he was mad at me. He went and complained with the principal. And the principal said Nicole was right. Why am I telling you that? Because if you want to be the answer that group of people needs, you've got to speak in industry language. So when you're doing the thing you're doing, you're making a plan. You got to focus your plan around your client and not what you think you know because you're the expert. Your client is the expert. You with me? You rolling with me? Doesn't matter what you think you know as you're the expert. What's the industry saying? What's your client saying as the expert? That's number one. Number two, partial commitment or being committed to the wrong things. There's a difference between being a CEO in your business and being the practitioner in your business. There are times that I'm being the speaker. There are times that I'm being the coach, and there's times when I have to be the CEO. There's a different decision that I make about my business as a CEO than I do as a speaker. Do you understand that? And you've got to know when to make a decision based on both ends. And so when you're making strategic decisions, you've got to know when to make the decision as a CEO and when to make the decision as a speaker. And you've got to be able to do both. Or as a coach. Or if you want a revenue generating business, you do. And you've got to know when to take off the visionary hat and when to take and put on the CEO and have a real conversation about numbers hat. You know, my husband and I have these really tough conversations. My husband is executive vice president of a Fortune, probably 500 company. He travels all over the world. He has sales teams all over the world, not country. I said world. He has team members in Dubai and in Singapore and all over the world. So when he says stuff to me, sometimes it's flying stuff all over my head. I have to go, okay, say that again. Peel that back. But he's talking to the CEO, not the speaker. So I have to let the speaker or the coach, Nicole, go and try to put my CEO hat on. And I'm like slow because I'm learning this CEO corporate stuff. He's been doing it. But there's two different lanes you got to swim in. And if you're going to grow and you've never done these things before, you have to be okay with not knowing and growing yourself. Big difference, y'all. So how can you grow yourself in the areas you're weak in? You've got to get in rooms and knowing where you're weak and be okay with being weak. But what are you going to do to grow? Number three, not having the right people around you. Which is, there's a quote that says, you are, what is it? You're as smart as the five people around you. There's also Proverbs 15:22 that says, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counsels, they are established. This is why I always am working with a coach. Always. My husband is coaching me. I have a business coach right now working with me. I have a health coach working with me because, baby, I'm going through menopause and it ain't cute. So let me say this again. Proverbs 15:22, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. when you're doing something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been, which means you got to acquire tools you've never had. How do you do that? It's not going to be you doing it because you've got to be something you've never been. How do you do that? This is why my business failed for 17 years, by the way, y'all. It wasn't until I hired that first coach, and I had to do it afraid. I couldn't afford it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. And she began to show me the things that I didn't know. And a lot of things that I didn't know were in my household, not even know it. My husband is sitting right in there. It's like, hello. But I didn't even know what to ask him. And some of it he had been trying to tell me, but I wouldn't hear it. That's a whole nother lesson, a whole nother time, y'all. Some of you guys have plans, but you're not executing your plans. Maybe you're in overwhelm. Maybe you're in fear. Another reason why you need a coach. When I was working with my coach, and I had never in my life written a P&L, and I was in overwhelm the first time I had to write a P&L. I didn't even know what a P&L stood for, keeping it all the way real. Whew, I'm going to leave that right there. Number 5, unwillingness or inability to change. 17 years. I was stubborn. Can I tell you, my ego was in the way? Because here I was with a master's degree, teaching at Boston University. I taught at USC for 5 years, and I could spew out all these things. I had been hired by the Speaker of the state of California. I can go on and on about all these things I had done, and yet my business was failing. So what? So what? Now I'm gonna continue with the last 2 things. But this and all these reasons are part of why I created Be the Answer. So as this is our last week together, now of course you guys know I'm here every week. We'll start having guests again next week. I want to one last time show you the commercial to invite you. Be the Answer, my virtual intensive is September 30th and October 1st. We're more than halfway sold out. Now, if you know, like you know, you need the support just like I did, and you want to stop being stubborn like me, I'm going to play this quick commercial, and then I'll come back and give you the last 2 reasons businesses fail without a plan. There's more than these 8, but these are the 8 that I see happen so often. I'll come back and give you our final 2 after this quick commercial break. Hi, Nicole Jones here, and I was thinking of you and why you have this big desire to grow or start your business, and why I really am committed to holding the space for you to go after the abundance with your name on it. And why Be the Answer, my event, is a place that will foster your ability to do just that. See, maybe you're somebody who's been to a seminar before, or maybe you've watched live stream from home. Well, what I know is the women entrepreneurs who attend Be the Answer expect to get the best of the best business education that's out there. But more than education, they need implementation. And they're ready to bust through their self-imposed limits, because what they don't expect is to have their entire life be transformed. See, Be the Answer is a lot different than just sitting around a conference room round table, straining your eyes, squinting so you can see the monitor and take notes, right? See, Be the Answer is about shifting who you are. It's about shifting what you do and how you choose to make money from the inside out. See, this is what I like to call a gut check change. See, this is knowing from that rumble in your belly that you have a gift, and there are people waiting on that gift as the very thing they need, and will pay for. See, it's learning what you need to do, the step-by-step to make all the money that's available for you to make. And it's about knowing who you are, creating a movement, building a brand and a personality that makes you hundreds of thousands of dollars while it allows you to make a difference. See, it's about leveraging who you are, what you do, and why you do it to transform the lives of millions of people that are waiting for you. See, listen, what I know for sure is we get into business. You got into business. You're committed to do this because you're sick and tired of being told what to do or getting a paycheck from somebody else instead of writing your own. See, we get into business because we love what we do, and we won't stop until we're satisfied. See, we get into business because we care about making a difference in people's lives. We get into business because we want to make money while we make a difference, right? So let me ask you, why would you ever want to go to another conference where you just sit on your butt and take notes for 2 days? And see, that is why I really was committed to make Be the Answer like no other event you ever attended. See, it's transformational, it's groundbreaking, life changing, and really, again, it's like nothing else you've ever gone to. See, you're not just going to be getting black and white facts. You're going to be living the facts. You're going to be implementing the facts, and you're going to be profiting from those facts. And get this, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank because no other conference gives you step-by-step information, has off-the-charts networking, right? And creates explosive action in your business. So, if you want to get clients, if you want to make connections, and go after the abundance, the money that's available to you, then Be the Answer is the place to be. If you're watching this, then that means that you know you have a gift to share. You know that you have a special something inside of you to help the world. And it starts at Be the Answer. So you're going to leave bolder than when you came. And that is richer than any amount of money you could ever make. That's richer in relationships. That's richer in your mindset. And that's richer in your own understanding. See, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it one more time. Be the Answer is the place to be. See, trust and believe. If you don't come, if I don't see you there, it's on. It's because you and I both know that this is your year to stop dating destiny and truly get committed to it. So I can't wait to see you at Be the Answer. So with that said, I'm excited to hold the space for those of you that know like you know, now is your time to get clear on your gift, to master it, to optimize that gift in you. And I'm going to show you how to tell your story at the event in a way that will call people to you. We're going to create 6 streams of revenue together in the room, and you're going to leave with your master biz plan. That's what we're going to do together in those 2 days. Plus, again, you get 3 gifts when you register. Learn more there on the website at betheanswerintensive.com and use the code LABOR22. Make sure you capitalize L for labor, labor22 to get your free gift. And that ends soon. So don't delay if you know you should be in the room. All right. So with that said, I said there were 2 other steps. There's 3 more. I can't count, y'all. So, and I forgot to say this at the beginning. I was so excited about this step because I think this is the one that people overlook. I said this in part 3. I am college touring today. So this is pre-recorded as well. I'll be back live with you with our guest next week. We're back to guests next week, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed this 4-part series. But let's dig into our last 3 steps here. So, quick review. Number 1, not understanding the environment or focusing on results. Number 2, partial commitment or being committed to the wrong things, being a practitioner versus being a CEO. Not having the right people involved or the right people around you. Number four, writing the plan and putting it on the shelf or not having a plan. Number 5, unwillingness or inability to change. So here's number 6, ignoring marketplace facts. So many people just rely on their expertise, but don't spend time in their marketplace. And I said this a few minutes ago, your client is your expert. It doesn't matter how brilliant you are not the expert anymore. Especially because, depending on when you got your degree or certificate or whatever makes you your expert, that stuff has expired. You got to spend time with your client to get to know the trends and the shifts that happen in your marketplace. Number 7, no accountability or follow through. Again, because things are shifting. So if no one's holding you accountable to your purpose, to the people that need you, then as things shift, how will you know that they shift? And then number 8, which is the biggest one, unrealistic goals or lack of focus or resources. I think so many people oftentimes don't want to invest in their gift, but they want other people to pay them to coach them. And they want an investor to invest in their gifts. And can I tell you, when you're first starting your business, an investor is not going to give you a loan because they're going to ask you to prove that you're going to make money. And when you have a service-based business, which by the way is my expertise, if you have a product-based business, I can't help you. However, if you want to take the expertise that you have that has started that product-based business, what do I mean? So I have a client right now that has a makeup line or I should say a skincare line. And she has so many people asking her to teach them how to take care of their skin, like teach classes. So I'm helping her create a whole training on skincare. That is using her intellectual property to do that. So of course they're going to buy her product, But see, when you only have a product based business, you're capping off how much money you can make. But if we can take your intellectual property and add to that, then baby, the possibilities are endless. Okay. So you've got to understand that when you have a service-based business model, I'm talking an accountant, a lawyer, a coach, a health coach, a image consultant, again, a service-based business model, and you're just starting out, you can't prove how much money you make because you haven't yet had at least 5 years under your belt because they want you to prove. If you've had 5 years, then you can prove it. If you haven't, you can't. So they're not going to give you a loan to start. They're not because you can't prove. So therefore, the only investor is you. And when I first started my business, you know who I used to call my investor? I used to call my daytime job my investor because my daytime job gave me what we all call a paycheck. And that paycheck I would call my investment. That's when I started wearing my hair natural. That's when I took my fingernails off and I started to invest in my business. I started to figure out what can I really scale down and how can I take part of my paycheck and pay for my business. See, God is looking at what will you do with what you have? And then how will you be strategic and make a plan? So we will do that together and be the answer. So all you got to do is get your butt in a seat, those of you that need that. So I want you to go back and look at our 4 weeks together and look at where you have holes and look at the support you need, whether it's me or somebody else. If you've been thinking about your business or your business is stagnant because you already started your business, but it's not growing. I guarantee you it's not growing because you're stuck in one of those 4 areas. So again, whether it's me or some other coach you've been watching, I need you to go and get the support you need. Why? Because if you already knew how to do what you needed, you would already have done it. So you've hit a wall. So don't stay stuck and stay in mediocre and settle. Go get the support that you need. All right. So I want to thank you for joining me for this 4-part series, Leverage to Grow. I want to thank you for trusting me and joining me for Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursdays. May I ask you to do me a favor? And one, can you share here in the comments one thing you got valuable out of our conversations? Two, will you share it? Will you share it with other people if you found any value out of what I've shared? Because you don't know if someone in your village has been struggling or praying about starting a business, and this might be the very resource that he or she might need. All right. So with that said, y'all, I'll be back next week. I start with a guest. That was the end of our 4-part series for the month or for now. I will have a guest next week. So I'll be back live with you. But again, thank you for joining me. All right. So until then, have a phenomenal rest of your week. I'll see y'all next week. Bye, y'all.